You own everything you pay for is a statement that could not be further from the truth today. As we speak, our ownership of everything is being taken away from us. The books you paid for, taken away. The right to repair your tractor, to run on your treadmill, a subscription is required for both, please. We are designed now to pay for everything and own none of it. But subscriptions are starting to evolve. There's new, darker and more dystopian methods developing that you cannot escape. For them to get your $10.99 every month without you even realizing it. Subscriptions aren't just an alternative way of paying for services. Life as we know it is currently and surely becoming one big subscription. Today we're even going to be researching and subscribing to one of the dumbest subscriptions in existence, whilst we also then look to the future and seeing how dark this rabbit hole is truly going to get. But first, what happened? Subscriptions started off as a good thing, apparently. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Limo B. Subscriptions began back in the 1860s. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln was paying for a subscription way back then. In the 1860s, however, subscriptions were just for magazines. You know, that's like the first subscription ever created. But now it seems like everywhere you look, there is a subscription to be paid for. I mean, how many times have you wanted to do one simple action on a website just to have it try and shove a subscription down your throat? I mean, I hope that's the only thing it's shoving down your throat, unless I guess you float that way. What the? Now, there's one particular company I do point the finger at for why subscriptions are so bad today and how they're evolving now to even get into worse things than they currently are. But before we get into that, how are subscriptions so bad? See, subscriptions do have some perks. I know it might be hard to believe that, but they do. See, it's much easier to stomach, a €10 per month fee for a service rather than €120 up front or whatever more it would have been to permanently own it in the first place. Which, can be useful if you maybe only require a service for a singular month. Rather than paying hundreds of euros, you just pay that €10 for that 1 month and rent the service, and then you get your use out of it and you're done. Really positive stuff. Also, subscriptions allow services to be continually updated and gives an incentive for the company to keep updating these services and products that they're offering, because we all know that they want your monthly fee every month and they wouldn't do it out of the goodness of their heart if you weren't paying that subscription fee. But today we seem to only have subscriptions that seem to do one thing, and that's increasing costs. I mean, think about it. Have you ever seen a subscription go down in price? I don't think I've ever seen that personally myself, so let me know if you have. But there's also plenty of other downsides. Rising costs isn't the only thing going on here. The company that I particularly blame for the whole industry moving towards a subscription-based model, and this company is Adobe. Let's look into them and their plunge into the subscription side of the economy. So way back then in pre-2013, you're listening to PewDiePie, you fucking dubstep playing in the background. Life is great. With Adobe, you used to be able to buy a license to permanently own their software. I know today the only way you can permanently own an Adobe software is by pirating it and sailing the high seas. Or, well, you could also sell each one of your limbs and a few kidneys and a lung every year to, financially compensate them for their high subscription prices, which we'll get on to in a second. But it's really sad thinking about this, because the subscriptions are actually built with the model of, ending piracy and actually creating a more open and fair service for people. Like Spotify killed music piracy. Well, for the most part, it's kind of coming back now because of the rising cost, but, that's the original model of subscriptions and why they were so good. So, one of the things that happened was that Adobe realized they're missing out on a buttload of cash. It was really difficult for new consumers and users to pay their massive upfront costs of €800. Yeah, that's the reason. So the original model worked that people would pay this one-time fee, €800 for Adobe's Creative Suite, which includes classics such as Premiere Pro. I'm literally editing this on Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Acrobat. Any Adobe software was included in that. But the way it would work, you'd only get that year's version, but you'd own it permanently. But what you don't get is the new versions of the app. Say you bought Adobe, Premiere Pro 2010, you wouldn't get 2011 Premiere Pro for free. You'd have to pay a little incremental increase in cost that Adobe offered as a package, or else just buying a whole other new license, which was very costly at the time. So Adobe was realizing they were giving up on a lot of cash. I remember when I used to play Roblox way back in the day, they used to have an option for their membership that was a lifetime membership. One-time purchase. I calculated that to this day, if you had bought that lifetime membership way back then in 2009, 2010, you could have saved upwards of €2,500 versus paying monthly for those same services for the same amount of duration. Now, I don't know who would have played Roblox in 2009 to see the value of that $2.5 grand, but you get my point. $2.5 grand is a lot of money to potentially be giving up. So that's like at least 3 burgers, I think. I don't know. Do the maths on that. So Adobe likely saw the numbers that these companies are losing on these disgustingly fair and consumer-friendly subscription options, and Adobe likely then thought to themselves, how can we absolutely put our fist up the place where the sun doesn't shine of our consumers and grab every single last bit of money that they have? And that's how we've been left with today's Adobe Creative Suite. It is the single most complained about subscription online. You look anywhere and there's someone complaining about this subscription. The one thing that has been great is the switch of cost for the consumers. They've gotten rid of the option to buy permanently, unless you count their Premiere Pro for babies thing, but they actually changed that license, so now it's only a 3-year license, so you have to continue buying it for €100, which is, I don't know why you'd bother. Now, whilst there has been some perks from Adobe and softwares as a whole switching to the subscription model, such as guaranteed continued support, and obviously, you know, the benefits I mentioned earlier, such as being able to just try out a software for a month to see if you like it. And as obviously you've bought with Adobe and they always rope you into a 12-month contract where you have to pay cancellation fees to not continue that service, which is just scummy as hell. See, Adobe's one-time fee of €800 to own an app was too expensive and unaffordable for customers. Understand me, that's a lot of money. Adobe has now switched to a subscription model, of course, to make this more affordable and easy for their customers to pay for their services. What they now charge for their creative suite, instead of just, you know, buying an app for €800, you now pay a subscription, a yearly subscription of €816. Yeah, a year to not even own the goddamn software. And if you want to use it again next year, it's probably going to be even a little bit higher. Some really great cost-saving methods from Adobe here. God, I'm so happy I have so much money. I have minus €16 now in my bank account. Thank you, Adobe. So today, not only have subscriptions undone the work of killing piracy by becoming so egregious and so costly that piracy is back on the rise, which I'm sure Adobe knows all about piracy, yeah, but literally ever heard of Adobe. But now they've also undone the cost saving method by it just straight up costing more for a single year than it used to just own a single app, which is just crazy to say. And so that's the current landscape of the world and how we got to this point of where we are today. It's always Adobe's fault. However, some of these subscriptions are just plain and simply stupid, and also they're getting really incredibly dark and disgustingly even more dystopian than they currently are. Subscriptions are just starting to become the Asmund gold of this world. They're unshowered, unwashed, they're like poo on the bottom of your shoe. It won't go away and it just smells really bad. A subscription for a treadmill to allow you to run on it, it's a digital soft lock. It's not real. You shouldn't have to pay for this. I decided I would subscribe to one entire month of what you'll see is likely one of the most dumbest subscriptions going, and pretty much summarizes every subscription today. I'm revealing the 3 pillars of what makes subscriptions so terrible today. And afterwards, I'll show you the dystopian future of subscriptions. But first, the present. More like, the present. I'm sure that joke would have went hard in 2016. Boomer Hoomer. Oh my god. Snapchat is the app I personally use to talk to my friends, and I've used it since 2016. It's just my app at this point. All my friends are on it, so it just makes sense for me to use it. If I could choose not to use it, I would, to be honest. The thing is though, Snapchat has never recorded a net income. It has made a loss for 14 years straight. Every single year it's existed, it's made and lost money. Snapchat has tried all sorts of business measures, such as their, spotlight feature, which has great videos, such as whatever the hell I'm watching right here. The AI slop, what am I watching? And before that I had Baby Gronk. Come on, guys. Which, is just a direct rip-off of TikTok, because we don't have enough apps to have an endless scroll feature on them. I just want more apps. I mean, the bloody GoV Lights app, the thing that controls the lights in your house, has an endless scroll in it. I mean, imagine doom scrolling your lights app. That's a real reality that we live in right now. For me, I know Snapchat Spotlight as the feature you accidentally swipe across to see some man-made horrors beyond your comprehension, like the one I just showed you, or a Baby Gronk video. And then you leave and you go about your day and never think with Spotlight ever again. That's where the problem lies. No one's using Spotlight, so they're not making any money. So how do you make money then? That's where Snapchat Plus steps in. Snapchat Plus has since grown to 11 million users. And that might sound like a lot, but it's 2.6% of the user base, so not really anyone's taken up on it. And I think we're gonna get to see why no one's really using this. Okay, but really, what is the type of person who buys Snapchat Plus? And what are the benefits of such a subscription in a messaging app? Well, I guess I'm that kind of person because, well, I guess I did buy this subscription. I've never seen a bigger beg though than Snapchat. Well, maybe you can consider a kick streamer when they've done some clickbait of like, you know, kicking a child in Japan or something and begging their stream to clip the chat. But otherwise, Snapchat has been pushing messages non-stop. When you go to your chat, when you use anything in Snapchat, hey, we have some Snapchat Plus if you want to buy that. We got 75% off. Oh, okay. You actually know that deal's over now. Tomorrow. Okay, now it's free for 3 months. Please just take it. And ladies and gentlemen, well, I took those $1.99 drugs off the Snapchat Plus man, and I took the plunge of $1.99 a month. I honestly do not know how I'm going to financially recover from this. Well, I guess you guys could try and help and soften the blow by maybe liking and subscribing. I want to say thank you guys so much for love on the last video. You guys have really helped it blow up, and it's really good. I never thought I'd get this far on YouTube, so really thank you guys so much.
You're not capable of going here.
That's very true. That's very true.
AI chatbot, AI personality, AI image generator, AI streams, AI captions, AI photo extend. All of these are some of the perks that you get when you subscribe to Snapchat Plus. I know, they all sound very riveting and interesting, guys. But why the hell do you need any of these AI features to talk to your friends? I mean, come on. What are these going to help you with? Now, I'm not going to cover all these AIs or go into any depth about them because honestly they're quite bland and very surface level on their own. But why the hell does every single app nowadays feel like it has to shoehorn AI into its apps? Now, I do have the answer for that, but we have to go somewhere first. Now, obviously, all these features are locked behind the Snapchat Plus paywall because, you know, they have to pay a fat fee to OpenAI to have a worse and dumber ChatGPT and just smear their yellow paint over to make it look like Snapchat made it, because, you know, obviously I'd rather use a dumber GPT for free in Snapchat than a smarter one in OpenAI's ChatGPT, because yeah, that makes sense. But these AI features just are totally unnecessary in Snapchat's case. I mean, why the hell do I need AI captions to write a caption on a snap that I'm going to send to my friend for me? Have we gotten to a point where we can't even just think about how to have a basic communications with our friends? I mean, think of like a dystopian world where like you and your friend are sending snaps to each other, but it's just an AI responding to an AI. The worst part about all this though is that this feature isn't even good. Alright, so I just took a random picture and I had to write a caption for me. So you don't get to give it any prompt or anything, it just analyzes the photo and then spits out some garbage while burning 5 trees in the process. And what it did for me was it said something about a Monday. However, the problem arises when, you know, I sent this of a Tuesday. I took and sent this picture of a Tuesday and I sent to my friend. He was like, it's not even Monday. But yeah, all these prompts are just boring and just unimaginative. Like it sounded like an AI, which I guess makes sense because it was written by an AI. And like this AI that Snapchat has isn't even good. I mean, it has its AI generate feature where you can generate blank images. It's kind of like the playground from Apple. But I would ask it to do this and it would just not generate anything I wanted it to generate at all because it's so stuck in the past. The real question here is, why are these features even here? Well, it's so Snapchat can turn to investors who are the only one keeping the app alive, as you know, it hasn't turned a profit, so the way they're relying is money keep coming in from investors. And it can keep saying that we're not behind on the times, we've AI too like everyone else. Investors, please give us 1.5 billion because that's how much we're paying OpenAI every year just to use their services in Snapchat, which is a ridiculous amount of money for an AI that's not even good or useful. The second pillar is just features that are kind of like nothing burgers. Well, I mean, like not like the AI features. There's just whole other features that they've made that are like, feel like they're made to make, you know, that like checklist whenever you're subscribing like to something. And that's like the pro, free, and then like the pro is like everything ticked and the free is nothing ticked because obviously it doesn't. It feels like they're just making stuff so they can put those tick boxes when you're comparing the two subscriptions. But there are some really like dumb and stupid ones in Snapchat, which, you know, can be seen across the entire industry. So it's just the very first one that I enabled. So when you buy Snapchat Plus, you can change the picture of Snapchat Plus to be a Joker ghost. So your app icon is just a Joker ghost. Is that meant to be a selling point? Am I meant to buy Snapchat Plus so I can do this? Also, the AI chatbot, if you don't have Snapchat Plus, is permanently pinned to the top of your friends list. And this will let you remove them, which means they know people don't like this feature and want to get rid of it because it has such little use. And there's one that I have one particular issue with, and that is half swiping. For those unacquainted with Snapchat and whatnot, when you have Snapchat, you can't see a text before you open it. Well, you can, but it's a little trick. So what you can do is you can kind of half swipe over without fully opening the text, and you get to see what the message is. Now, this doesn't show read or seen for the user. They've introduced this feature now with Snapchat Plus where you can see if someone's half swiping you, but only if you're concurrently on the app and actively looking at that chat. That's the only way you can know. Someone could do it when you're asleep, and you'll never know if they half swiped you, which makes the feature kind of dumb and pointless. However, in reality, with all these features, your life doesn't change. I mean, personally, I can say from before using Snapchat to using Snapchat to after using Snapchat Plus, I don't notice a difference in my use.
Why my nuggets say sausage?
Now, this pillar isn't about how you know certain features are locked behind a paywall when they shouldn't be. That was like the last segment. If you missed that, go watch the last segment. But no, this is more in line specifically with social media subscriptions, and that's false validity, false credibility that's been awarded through subscribing to certain services. I mean, we saw Twitter do this with the whole verification thing. There's the biggest drama on Twitter is that you can now pay to be verified, which defeats the whole purpose of being verified, because now bots can be verified, which is probably the main verified people at the moment, I would say, is bots. But, you know, Daddy Musk is happy to collect that money because he's getting paid every month. But these little badges are designed to make you feel as if you're not part of a club, or you're less important because you don't have that little tick, or in Snapchat's case, it's a black circle with a star on it next to your name. But honestly, on Snapchat, this has like the total opposite effect. I know some people might give more credibility to verified users on Twitter, but on Snapchat, you get bullied if you have that black star next to your name. You also get priority replies to the stories on Snapchat, which is just like reply boosts on Twitter. It's for attention star people who want to feel like they're validated through some little check mark. That's why these features exist. So now we understand how subscriptions took over the world, what makes up these pillars of despair. That kind of sounds like a Black Ops 1 zombies map. Knock their pillar of despair. But anyway, all we need to know now is how these subscriptions are going in the future, and how they're becoming less and less obvious that you're even paying for a subscription. So one of the things that is becoming obvious to me as of late is that subscriptions are seeping into every way of life that exists today in a subtle, not technically a subscription kind of way. See, what makes subscriptions so profitable is that it's guaranteed money every month. Businesses can plan for the future knowing that, oh yeah, we're gonna make this much money next month. But with the current financial status of the world, people are becoming more savvy with their subscriptions and being more picky because, you know, we can't afford just to latch onto every subscription. So subscriptions are finding their own ways now to become more hidden and hide behind the dirt. But today we're going to be pulling back that curtain and seeing them for what they really are. So let's view how they've been etched into my life and your life in two specific ways, and how they're becoming quite dangerous. Okay, hear me out. Call of Duty is a title that has existed for yonks. I literally referenced it like a minute ago with the knock their pillars of despair. Fortnite is also a title that's been around for yonks now. It's been 8 years. Oh, holy chungus, that is a very, I feel like an old head now, what the hell? Fortnite is known for introducing the world to battle passes. They offer content throughout the season at a fixed price that players regularly buy at the beginning of a new season. Call of Duty has also adopted this style of battle pass monetization, as now offer the same style battle pass for a fee every season. Now guys, if we're being honest, Call of Duty kind of becomes boring after the first season when you've unlocked everything. This is where the Battle Pass kind of comes in. See, the Battle Pass becomes a reason in its own whole sense to keep playing the game. I wouldn't say it's a hard grind, but it's just a really long grind that gives you progression and new unlocks as you play throughout that new season. That, you know, without that Battle Pass, you would have pretty much nothing to play for, because as everyone knows, you do not play Call of Duty for fun anymore. You have to leave crying and in tears, and you have to ask your girlfriend to make you another goddamn sandwich. So where's the issue here though with selling battle passes? See, when you break it down, the battle pass is a fixed price that you pay on a scheduled basis that grants you access to exclusive features that you won't otherwise have access to without it. Now, when you break it down like that, it kind of does sound a hell of a lot like a subscription. Now, obviously, I'm not against the whole business model at its own. I think for free games like Fortnite, this is a completely reasonable and honestly an encouraged way for get their games to be monetized, as it doesn't offer you a competitive advantage. But Call of Duty costs €1, and it shouldn't be expected that the player should pay €30 a season for a Black Seal Battle Pass to keep playing the game, to have a reason to keep playing the game. See, not only does it make players want to play because they want to get value of what they just paid for. I mean, if you pay 30 euro for something, you're going to play every goddamn minute because you want to unlock everything in that 30 euro battle pass you paid. You know, it's like when you pay for a cinema ticket, you know, if the movie's bad, you're not going to walk out because you still paid for that ticket. So you're going to get your value out of it and see that entire movie and eat all your popcorn. And another way that subscriptions are itching their way into games is that one of my favorite games, City Skylines, the very first one, it has about a buttload of DLCs that cost an extortionate amount of money. So what they offer now is a 10 euro per month, you guessed it, subscription for this game to unlock all the DLCs. And you know, the base game has absolutely nothing in it, so you need these DLCs. So you pretty much need a subscription to pay for all of this, which, you know, if you don't pay that subscription anymore, you're going to lose access to all of the saves you've played on that build. Okay, I'm probably going to lose a future sponsorship over this next topic, but Air Up, hear me out. If you've watched YouTube at least 1.5 times, you've definitely heard of Air Up, this company. I guess it's time to do a sales pitch for them. They offer this sort of bottle that you could then fill with water and buy these scent pods that you can attach to the bottle that makes your water feel, or well, I guess tricks your brain into thinking it tastes like something while actually having no calories and still being just water. Because, you know, it's too hard just to drink water, guys. You have to be Asmongold where you're like allergic to it, like. Well, you're welcome, Air Up. There's your free sponsorship pitch. But these guys are also a hidden subscription, hidden in plain sight. See, the bottle's whole purpose is to be used with these scent pods. Once you can use it on your own without a scent pod, it becomes a 50 euro water bottle that you paid for. See, these Air Up scent pods only last 5 days, and when you order them, they come in a bundle of 3. So that means you get pretty much a fortnight of use out of these until you have to go back to their website and order some more pods in order to get more use out of your 50 euro water bottle you just paid for. And these scent pods aren't exactly cheap. It's 3 of them for 9 euro, so you're paying 3 euro a pod. That's egregious pricing. And so this is creating a routine spending within your mind, which is also just called creating a spending habit. It's a different form of hidden subscription, in my opinion, that you will routinely be obliged to spend money regularly on their products because without that, they feel incomplete or useless. And there's been psychological studies done that show that consumers do often more times buy these unnecessary products, even if they might enjoy them, just so they can feel like they're getting the full use of the product they spent a lot of money on. And this is the dangerous part of buying that 50 euro water bottle, because by buying that, you don't even realize that you're submitting yourself to a 9 euro subscription for some scent pods that you don't really need and overpriced. Before we get into the next hidden form of subscription, why is it actually so terrible that we don't own anything? Beyond just a financial perspective, of course. A quote was born that prophesies that by 2030 we will own nothing and be happy. This was a quote seen as a utopian view where the worries of everyday things such as what food you'll eat will already be taken care of for us. We don't own any of the decisions that we make. We don't own any of the land that we live on. However, today just honestly just feels very dystopian. By not owning things, you're slowly giving up your freedom, such as the irony of Amazon removing 1984 from their Kindle services despite users supposedly paying to own the book. But everything's just a license now, isn't that right, Ubisoft? By giving up more control and ownership to companies, we give bits of our freedom bit by bit. You get to choose if you want to watch Ice Age and see that ugly baby whenever you want. But if subscriptions are starting to eat into our core choices of our life, such as, you know, clothes or food, that's when things are starting to get dangerously serious. Because then we'll begin losing our freedom of expression. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Let's go back to the last hidden subscription. There's a keyboard I'd really like that costs 120 euro. I have a problem here. I only have 40 euro. You can see the issue here, right? I can't afford it. Let's say I make maybe 100 euro a month. So, you know, I could maybe wait a month and buy it then. I'd have 140 euro in total. I know to make 100 euro a month, I must be working for Shein doing child labor or something like that. But anyway, I'm kind of an impatient man. I love instant gratification. It's the whole way the whole world has moved due to TikTok and whatnot, instant dopamine hits. It's just the way we are now. We can't help it. And I'm not bothered waiting a month for this keyboard because I need it now. This is where our friends' 0% interest loan app fills in the slot that we're missing here. Specifically for me, I'm talking about buy now, pay later apps, but I'm going to refer mainly to Klarna here as it's what I've personally had and have experience using. I think it's probably the most popular one, at least in Europe. Klarna is very generous and offers me, without any vetting or anything, the chance to, you know, break down this purchase into 4 installments of 30 euro a month. I mean, I can afford that. I have 40 euro. I can just pay 30 euro now and another 30 euro next month. I know, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually need a 30 euro mouse now to go with my keyboard. So that's 40 euro. That's all my money. But, you know, at least I can afford that. It's breaking down in installments. I can afford that, right? So monthly, now I'm paying 40 euro a month. Not bad at all. But the story isn't really all sunshine and rainbows. Buy Now Pay Later is a service that's taken over the entire shopping world. You go to any checkout, it's there as one of the options, more than likely. It does make it easier to buy higher priced goods now. You know, it makes it easier to afford to break it down in installments. Is this actually necessary? Like, let's just think about it for a second. See, apps like Klarna enable users to spend more money than they can actually really afford to do so. And enabling users to overpay and overspend is their entire business model. So have a 25% late fee that can increase your costs a lot. 31% of Gen Z, which is my age people, personally I haven't, but have reported that they've had to pay late fees, and when you couple that with the studies have shown that they spend 41% more on average when they have the option to use Klarna versus, you know, just buying some upfront, you spend 41% more money when you have Klarna. That's a dangerous couple, probably more dangerous than a certain Jeffrey and Ghislaine. A very dangerous couple in its own right. It encourages users and consumers to not make a valuable lesson in saving their money and actually having a proper think about what they're wanting to buy, because, you know, you can just do it now. It offers you the option to turn any product you want into a 3-month subscription service, or 4-month, depends on what plan you take up. But it's just another way for these companies to get your money on both a instant process and also on a monthly process. This is taking out a loan. You don't need to take out a loan on mundane, ordinary day items. A loan is reserved generally for things like a car, a loan, going to college. You don't have to take a loan out to buy some gaming headset that has cat ears on it. I mean, think about that. Try and pitch that to your parents. Can I take a loan out to buy these cat ear gaming headphones? They will probably throw you out of the house. But when you are saving up for an item, it gives you more and more time to think about, do I really want this? Does this justify the price? It gives more sense of value to what you're actually buying, because you've had to save up for 3 months of that. You now value that 600 euro you're spending a lot more. When you're spending 200 euro in one time go, you don't value that product as much, and therefore you don't have to think about it as much because it's not as large of a purchase at one go. See, when you consider that the subscription economy is just getting more expensive every day as we're speaking, the subscription prices are going up, it's taking away your freedoms and your rights, and oftentimes it's just completely unnecessary and just shoehorned in for the sake of making money. It's just plain and bold greedy. It doesn't shape up for a good future of the world. But seriously, think about what you're paying for every month in a really big way, and think if you can permanently own anything and an alternative, such as Photoshop. There's Affinity as an alternative to Photoshop, and which you can own permanently, which his entire business model is just owning something permanently. And it's selling well because of that. It's really popular now because people want to own the stuff they're paying for. But something I want you to take very serious is watching this video. It's about a YouTuber who got elected to European Parliament who has a very, very shady past. Bye! Next month. Oh my god.